Country lanes and coastal plains, endless views that we're passing through, making our way.